What's up, good people? Today, just out of the flow of life, my brother and I, Mr. Ivan Talamantes, decided to jump on Instagram Live and talk about this vision of dreaming, believing, and moving forward. So while I wait for Ivan to jump in here and join this chat, I'm just going to talk to you a little about our history. So I've met Ivan through Ron Cook when they were both sort of at Willow Creek in Chicago, Illinois. Excuse me. Quickly, I gravitated towards his heart, adding Yvonne to this call. So, ready to go live. But yeah, I gravitated towards his heart and eventually brought him down to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I am talking about the story of us meeting, so don't interrupt me. So I
Go for it,
quickly
cowboy.
gravitated towards his heart and brought him down here to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and had him share with my family at Worship Center while I was on staff there. And we've just been hermanos ever since then. So, everybody, welcome, Mr. Ivan Talamantes.
Oh,
Did I say that right?
hermano, good to see you, buddy. What a joy to be
Yeah,
sharing with you and with all the community that is connecting little by little. This is special, man, in so many ways. I'm so grateful
absolutely.
and thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, what a joy to see you and here we are.
Here we are. So, first question for you is, where did the heart and the vision behind dreaming, believing, and moving forward come from? Because you speak it so articulately and passionately. Can you share that with everyone?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I born and grew up in Mexico, in Chihuahua, Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. That is south with Texas. And, we grow up over there with a lot of different and limited resources. Why not in so many ways? And, it's an interesting story how we moved from Mexico to the US. Some of people know part of our story about how uh, when we were trying to be parents, the situation in Mexico was really hard and difficult. And, long story short, I mean, when we were trying to be parents, we lost our doctor in a really terrific ways in Mexico. So we moved to the US trying to start again, to believe again, to have a new life, a new opportunity. And it's how we moved from Chihuahua, Mexico to El Paso, Texas. Um, so the dreaming, believing, and moving forward has been a phrase that is deep in my mind and heart for so many ways in different seasons of life. But number one, when we moved from Mexico to a new country, to America, that was the first time, like, well, again, our doctor was killed, unfortunately, in Mexico when we were trying to be parents.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved. This was one of the first steps, trying to build again and trying to leave that story behind. And then we were in El Paso, Texas for like 3 years, and change that looks like it's the only constant in life uh, arrived to our lives again. I was touring at that time, and then it's how we moved from El Paso, Texas to Chicagoland. So again,
So you
this
moved from El
phrase,
Paso to
yeah,
Chicago,
I was building in several
dreaming, believing, and moving
steps.
forward.
We moved to El Paso, Texas with the dream about start again, to keep dreaming, change arrived to our lives. God gave us the miracle, by the way, not only one time, but 2 times. And now we have the blessing of having two beautiful daughters, Jimena and Ivana, that they are my heart, my gift from heaven. So yeah, we moved dreaming big from El Paso, Texas
Dreaming big.
to Chicago. Moving forward, and I remember the song that you just shared as well, Israel
That
Houghton
Israel Houghton
song.
jump. I should say
Bro,
Ricardo Sanchez,
that
robbed by
was
Israel. But
that
yeah,
was
that's my jam.
a daily prayer, because I was touring at the time.
Hmm.
And then when the miracle arrived to our life, I was in Venezuela waiting for a sound check in a lobby of a hotel in Venezuela. And my wife, Marcy, she called me and she just told me, "Hey, are you seated?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm seated. And here I am." And she just told me, "Bro, you are going to be that." So, bro,
Come on.
I start crying over there like a little kid. All the band around me, like, "What happened, Ivantas? Are you okay?" I just like, and I just tell the band around me, like, "Man, everything is all right. It's just that I'm going to be at that." So I received the blessing about the first miracle with all the oldest daughter, Jimena, and it's how that flipped my heart. And it's how I started looking around for other job opportunities without the traveling that much because I was busy, bro. I was traveling maybe 8 to 10 times per month in the touring industry. I did that for 15 years in Latin America. And the miracle arrived. We move to start again, keep dreaming, keep believing, and we move forward from El Paso, Texas to Chicagoland.
So, what was the transition from touring going into church
Yeah,
like for
well,
you?
I was doing great, I guess. I mean, I was busy, traveling a lot, but the biggest variable is that we didn't have the kiddos at the time. So I was working just fine, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying that touring equals uh, not a good family. I mean, I have a lot of friends and partners that are still touring and the family is solid. But in my own journey, when the miracle arrived, I realized it's better for me to be closer at home, at least in the season that the girls are growing up. So it was different, was good. So this opportunity arrived. I mean, I remember I sent like 60 resumes in all the US. I have like 10 responses and a couple of solid possibilities. And Chicago, Willow Creek at the time, was the most solid and faster. And we received a lot of peace in our hearts. That was the right next step, the next moving forward opportunity.
Right. So there's a lot of peace in these opportunities. So I share similar circumstances where I was touring and then I met my wife and I knew in order to be able to be family, which I was most passionate, but it was scary to like shift finances and everything else like that. But I shifted from there to honestly for a period of time doing nothing and then starting to work for the church. The opportunity opened up for the church, and I had to decide between going back out on tour right after my son was born and working for the church. But so you get to Willow Creek, and there's the believing, and you're constantly asking God, like, God, what are the next steps for me? And you living in this place where you're able to receive and be obedient at the same time. How did the dreaming, believing, moving forward start to manifest in your ministry after you hit Willow Creek?
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, like constant and variables are things that are always arrive into our lives. So I think I start realizing that the more the more I can develop the muscle of flexibility and to be walking life open-handed, that will be better or easier for the next moving forward situation. I mean, Willow was a great experience for me. I mean, I learned a lot. I met beautiful people there. I mean, I built friendship and community that some of them are still really closest friends. But change arrives, situations change, things can change. And the next big question for my own journey can be like, is good for me and for my peace, for my heart to continue in one space, or it's time to move forward? And in certain moment, I realized that was the time for me to move forward. I mean, was hard, wasn't easy. Change is hard. a lot of the lessons in life are hard, and we learn a lot
Absolutely.
so many times through difficult seasons on life. But again, if we still dreaming big, believing, the moving forward is a situation that now, or tomorrow, or in the future. I mean, I learned over there that seasons, uh, season is more than today, less than forever. So, in certain moments, and again,
Absolutely.
let it go was hard. Again, but walking in obedience, having peace. Um, so now we are not in Chicago anymore. Now we are in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, 1 year ago, 1 year and a half ago.
Yeah. So for me, like the moment you said it, like I took it in and I was like, oh, that sounds, it just sounded so like sexy, honestly. It was like, oh, that's a phrase. That's a whole like quote. And I keep quoting you for it. Absolutely. But how I started applying it and I had to think over it and over it when you said it to me first, because I know I had to have been sharing one of the dreams that I felt were on my heart at the moment with you about doing something that was like outside of the scope of possibility. You know, there's this book called Chasing the Lion, and I think it's by I'm about to lie. I think it's by Mark Batterson, but I might be wrong. But it's this book that I had been reading, and it's really like if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Excuse me. And so I'm sharing a dream with you, and you're like dreaming, believing, and moving forward. So you have to have a dream, and this is how I applied it to me. You have to have a dream, then you have to believe in that dream, and then you have to take the steps moving forward
Mm-hmm.
in faith that that dream is really you. And if you're wrong, it's all right, you know, but you still continue to move forward in it, you know. And so like I'm really trying to unpack and get you over time to unpack this movement of dreaming, moving forward for people to the point where people can apply it to their ministry. So you've been doing ministry, you started from the touring, you know, and developed your skill in the touring side of the world, and then you went to Chicago and developed yourself as into this place of obedience and leadership. And you developed a passion for sharing open-handedly the knowledge that you have. So how can someone else in your position, our position, working in the church or working on in touring, apply dreaming, believing, and moving forward? Do you feel like you're able to unpack something like that?
Yeah, I guess. So, I mean, in these modern days, there is a lot of studies about studying and analyzing the human behavior, right? Like the enneagrams, or I mean, like if you are a reformer or a introvert or an extrovert or a peacemaker. I mean, a lot of different ways. But I'm trying to keep. It's my desire to keep seeing people just like a beautiful creation from above. I mean, I don't see anagrams around me, or I don't see, uh, like I see creation, I see humans, I see souls. I learned that the best connections with others are through vulnerability, sharing your story, sharing something that makes you happy. I mean, those are connections that you can generate really fast with another human being. I'm not saying that analyzing Enneagram numbers is good or bad. I mean, I'm just saying I'm trying myself to keep, when I'm looking around, I'm trying to see humans, and I see everything through the eyes of opportunity, trying to generate that connection. Like, so if you are in any space, if you are in church world or in the touring world, the blessing of the people around you, the power of the team, that's what can make something extraordinary, because the amount of knowledge, the amount of uniqueness is unique to any specific space. So if I can rephrase, wherever you are in any season of life, look around and trying to find those opportunities to generate uh, belonging with the people around you, uh, celebrating the differences. I mean, we talked about this before. I mean, I represent, I represent a Latino community. I'm super grateful with my brothers or sisters of color. I think through them, I learned to listen music in a different way. Without going into the techie vibe about plugins and compression and reverbs, the feeling that we can add to any product, the heart and soul, that if you connect your heart, your mind, your everything to the moment, that is what people in these days, talking about art, right? Mixing or a
Absolutely.
piece of art. But so yeah, I, I, I was long with that answer, but looking opportunities
Oh, so
to make the
good.
people around you to feel welcome and to feel seen, that they have a space in the table.
Absolutely. Gotta let that sit in for a second. So, in your new role, what what things have you noticed have manifested from going from Willow Creek, where you were primarily the broadcast engineer there, to now being in a place where, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but you're training people now, right? You're developing people and resources, and not just an operator, right?
Yeah, I have the opportunity to be part of the development team that is basically helping in the process of on ramping other audio engineers or checking quality control or standardizing processes that serves other. It's a multi-campus church, CCV church here in Phoenix, Arizona. Um, right now, it's going to be a 16 campus entity, so it's growing like crazy, and God is doing a beautiful thing over here. When I was around just exploring this possibility, I mean, I get in love with the community, with the people. Um, like in any other mega church system or an organization that is so big, I mean, it's really easy that we can get lost in the minutia of doing things. But again, for me, with all my learnings from the past, I'm trying to bring all the learnings to this new opportunity and build again, going to the start of the conversation, right? To keep dreaming, to keep believing, and moving forward things that I see with eyes of opportunity. Again, always any question of curiosity is welcome and should be welcome in any system, because sometimes, I mean, in any big organization, maybe they are doing something in the same way for so long, and nobody asks, what are we doing that process that way? Nobody asked in years. So again, I think when you are new in any space, that I don't know, I'm not a new guy anymore. I'm new and stuff, but my friends, my partners around there told me, you are not a new anymore. It's already a year and a half.
You've been there for a year. You grow up real quick when it comes to church. It's like,
Yeah,
you've been on staff for 6 months. Oh, you're a vet.
but I feel the trust to bring questions. Like, hey, what are we doing this way? Can we consider this other way? So yeah, I don't know if I answer, but I see everything through the eyes of opportunity, and it's one of my passions in these days. And I don't consider myself like the best in nothing. I mean, I consider myself a good student and someone that is still taking notes on a daily basis. I'm trying to learn from everybody around me, not just tech people.
Yeah, growth is huge. Like being focused on growth rather than being focused on proving that you know something is so much better. So, as a leader, what are a couple of areas that you're focused on developing in yourself so that you can serve your people better?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I think number one in these days, I'm not holding to nothing. In the past, I was feeling really important about the thing that I was doing. I'm the audio guy of this space. I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best. This is happening because I'm great in what I do. And these days, I'm not holding to nothing. Honestly, like God knows, my friends know, my wife knows. I mean, I'm not holding to nothing because I know that everything can change in 1 second, in one day. Whatever I have today can be different tomorrow. I'm open-handed to wherever. I'm a believer, right? So I'm open-handed. I'm trying my best in the space that I am with the things that I have in hand to empower others, to develop others, to encourage others. And I'm not holding to nothing. I'm just my desire is just to help and to move things forward with an honest heart, no agenda.
What are some of your processes? Sorry, no agenda. I feel that. What are some of your processes that you have? Like, what's your favorite thing that you do to stay connected and to honor the people that serve underneath of you?
I think it's really important that before assigning a list of tasks or processes, that the people have clarity about the why we do what we do. For us, people serving in church or working inside a church should be always reminded that we are there to serve the bigger mission that is sharing the gospel, the good news to others. The what we do, mixing consoles or microphones or handling lighting or doing whatever techie situation that we do, that's just the tool. It's not the reason of what we do. So I think with that foundation, reminding the people the why we do what we do, I think is my biggest passion in these days.
Copy that. I feel
Hey,
like we hit all the bases. So yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
What were you gonna say?
I think it's important in this conversation to mention something about how we handle diversity in our friendship. The topic of I'm a
Yeah, sure.
Latino, black brother, but we are familia, so we can chat about these things. Can you share a little bit about
Absolutely. So,
this topic?
man, for me, honestly, I don't really like, and I know we live in a world where saying you don't see color is like not acceptable for most people. But for me, it's like people are people, and like I don't want anybody to have any presumption about me as an individual because I'm a person of color in any capacity. Like I'm light skinned. You don't know if I'm black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever. You know, nobody knows who I am or what I am. And so you have to figure it out. And I feel like how we carry ourselves, I gravitate towards people who are honest, open, loving,
Yeah,
and willing to connect and network and share information with people that are open handed. And so it really doesn't matter for me who people are. Like we were connected through Ron Cook, you
yeah,
know, and he's not a person of color, and he's one of our closest friends.
yeah,
And so that's at the end of the day, it's like how do you relate to others is what really matters the most. Like I'm not gonna hang around no jerks. It's just who I am. I'm not. I don't gravitate towards people who don't have love for other people and who aren't passionate about teaching other people.
yeah, for sure.
So it's really easy for me when it comes to relating to other people. I don't have this block, you know. And there's always room for me to grow from just about anybody.
Yeah,
Um, but as people of color, sorry, I'm gonna tap on this real quick. We are a rarity in this industry. Now you come from Latin America where you can like plug in and do a lot of stuff in your region because you have skill and there's needed skill in your region. But the moment you shift to the US, it's like, yo, we're a rare breed. You know, there's like a handful of us in the industry of people who are doing things at an excellent level, at a
yes,
level that people admire and long to shoot towards. And I'm starting to see it happen come around more.
yeah,
The more our artists who are of color are looking for people that they can relate to. Because sometimes culturally, if you're not of a culture of color, you don't understand the way we vibe and the way we flow, it's like if you can't integrate yourself in, and like if getting a gig on the road is really about like how you interface with the people that you're working with
Yeah.
and working for. So if you can't get down with the hood,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work for you. It's like no matter how good you mix, if you can't get
Yeah.
down with the people, and you can't understand, if you're always like, oh man, that artist is ignorant, blah 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 blah. And something that I've noticed that's kind of been beautiful for me is a lot of people. Let's take Jay-Z for instance. Jay-Z started out rap, hood, everything. The most prolific business people minds of our day. He's a billionaire, and he's a motivator for African American people.
Mm.
And it's not like I'm going to say this very loosely, because it's not our fault that we lack knowledge. We sometimes we don't know how to go find it, and it takes knowledge to know how to seek out
Mm.
knowledge. Like you have to have some level of foundation to know what to go look for
Yeah.
before you go look for it. Like if you're an audio engineer, let's shift to that and take it out of the color. If you're an audio engineer, or you're desiring to be an audio engineer, if you've never touched a console and you don't know what a fader is, how do you know how to go search out how to develop gain structure or compression or whatever may be the
Yeah.
case? So I feel like that's the same thing with any level of seeking learning. Is if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know how to go find out the information that you need to find out.
Yeah.
And so for people of color, we start off like Fantasia. Fantasia couldn't read. I'm sure Fantasia can read now. You know what I mean? But she was an amazing talent. And talent doesn't mean that you have to have everything else figured out to be talented. But that's what I love about, like, back to the whole, like, if you don't understand our culture, you just
Yeah.
it's going to be a hard move for you. I think that goes both ways too. Like if I don't understand the culture of rock and roll, it's going to be a struggle for me to walk into to rock and roll and actually function.
Yeah.
And so the diversity. Back to your question with the diversity between cultures. I'm I'm a student of music. I love opera. I love orchestra. I love jazz.
Mhm.
I love salsa, merengue. I love it all, and I study it all. The more I know, the more opportunity is available to me, and I feel like that. To wrap up my whole thought to answer,
So good.
as far as like diversity between and brotherhood is, the more familiar I am with different types of people, the better I'm able to serve
Yes.
people that God puts in front of me to serve.
So good, my friend. Thank you for sharing. I mean,
I'm grateful that you love me.
I love you, man, and I love that we can open the talk about these topics, but we celebrate our differences,
Absolutely.
our food, of culture, of ideas, and a lot of people go really easily and fast to let's agree to disagree. But I don't like that idea to be the fast solution to any conversation. To agree to disagree, we need to have the conversation first, and to talk and
Right.
understand each other in that regard. Man, this is good.
Unpack that a little bit more. Why don't you like agreeing to disagree? Why don't you like that phrase? Because it's something new and common. Because before, nobody was willing to compromise or admit that they were wrong or whatever. So why don't you like that
It's not that I
that
don't
that that
like. I
phrase?
mean, it
Agree to disagree.
can be a valid expression, but I think a lot of people are using that phrase to close any possibility of conversation to talk about anything. I think we need to be able to engage a conversation, share the different points of view, seeking to understand both ways, and then if you need to agree to disagree, that will be the last resort. But I see
Right.
a lot of,
For me,
yeah,
go ahead. For me, agreeing to disagree, I don't even like to use that phrase. I like, hey, we're gonna circle back to this, or I'm gonna go ponder and pray about it, whatever may be the case. Like if somebody points out something that they don't like about me, and I'm like, I disagree, and they want me to agree with them, we can agree to disagree, but let's circle back to this and see what's moving forward. in complete transparency, if at the end of the day I'm not on your page, and that you needing me to be on the same page as you speaks so much of a volume that you can't move forward without me agreeing with you, then you need to move on out of my life. Honestly, if we can't, if you need me to be on your page and agree with you and not have any diversity, so much so, if you need me to be on that same page with you, so much so that you're going to keep harping at it and you're going to keep trying to make me change and meet you where you are. If I don't want to, you have the option to move on out of my life. Not saying you, but any individual. So agree to disagree is kind of like, man, look, we're beating a dead horse. We can't come to an agreement, and some things just aren't worth compromising for, especially if it's on your beliefs and your values. It's like that. Hold on, let's pause this conversation and move on to something else. But sometimes people say agree to disagree, and they don't ever move on. They don't ever. They just, if the thing gets paused right there, and they don't circle back to it and see what they can move forward with, it puts a hindrances in relationships. So I love the fact that you're like, yo, we should have open dialogue and discussion and conversation and talk about these things. And honestly, like, we've had lots of conversations where there was no need for agreeing or disagreeing, but we saw things differently. You know, there was a point in time where I'm glad I never said agree to disagree. When you were like, I just said I disagree with you. When you were like, you know, the blessing is in the house, and I was supposed to do what I was supposed to do, and I was supposed to put my hand up, and I was trying to get you to take a role that I didn't want to take. Honestly, and there were some moments where I think you understood that I didn't have the confidence to take that role. But I also knew that circumstances, and I'm filtering very heavily, but I knew circumstances were time for me to move on. It was time for me to move on. But selfishly, me pitching the opportunity to you was like selfishly me like, I'll stay if you're here. If you're in charge of me, I'm staying all the way. You know, you're like, nah, the blessings in the house of the mono. I'm like, no, it ain't.
Oh man.
So yeah, we didn't agree or disagree on that. It was just what it was.
Do you see at the end,
Dude,
each persona is building their own story, and they are walking in their own shoes and in their own seasons of life. That's why to be walking open-handed about the moving forward, dreaming big, believing, and moving forward. I mean, it's a unique journey for each individual.
Right. And it's so crazy because, like, in the dreaming process, I've been really like tapping it, like this like goals. Like, I was talking about goals and what success looks like, and it looks different for every single person. So like, no matter what you're dreaming for, you don't have to be dreaming for the moon. And especially if you're going from complete fear to I want to start to dream right now. Dreaming big can be just as simple as like what I was saying before with the Chasing the Lion book, is if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. You know, and so if the dream is like, for me, the dream was to lose a lot of weight. And it scared me because I was like, I don't think it's possible. And so I had to just start doing something and stop focusing on the big dream of how much weight I needed to lose. I had to focus on, I just need to go do the things that help people lose weight. You know what I mean? And so you focus on the micro and not the macro.
It's a good
so and so once you attack a goal, a dream. So I would always encourage someone, if you're going from never having chased your dreams or feeling like you failed at chasing your dreams, to start with something that you're pretty sure is attainable for you. Even though it's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, you're scared to do it, you lack the courage to do it, I challenge you to take that dream that you can accomplish in 3 months. You know, even if it's starting with simple things that are easy to get others to encourage you on, like losing weight, eating better, reading books, whatever, gaining knowledge, and not being like, I'm trying to be a billionaire. Out the gate, you're going from like, I've never done anything before, and now like, I'm trying to be a billionaire. And so like, you have no capacity of that, you know? To figure it out. And it's not a bad dream to have. but I think you should start with something that's attainable. I almost got hit by a bird. I'm sitting outside, a bird just flew right at my head. I was scared.
Oh man,
Anyway, this is what happens when you sit outside and get birds. Um, sorry, I think I froze there for a
that's
second.
good. That's good, bro. Good.
But
Thank you for
yeah,
sharing.
so
It's good. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff, man.
but man, it's been a blessing. I don't want to hold you
It's
up.
fine.
Um,
But yeah,
I
it's
see
good.
you got studio stuff in the background, so I'm sure you got work to do.
Yeah, this is
But thank you
the home
so much for
home
your
office.
time.
Oh man, thank you. What a
Would
blessing.
you mind? We prayed before we
Mm,
started. Can you pray us out and pray for people in leadership and pray for dreams for
yes,
people
yes.
as we close?
Thank you, Father. Thank you for the opportunity to share today with my brother and for all the this conversation. We hope this can be an encouragement for everybody that have dreams, that they are in the process of believing again, or in the process of moving forward, wherever each situation is. Can you please help them? Can you please help us to keep trusting in you and only you, and taking the steps of faith that we need on a daily basis to keep dreaming, believing, and moving forward. I'm grateful for my brother, for each person that is listening today, this conversation. In your name we pray, in your name we go and do. Amen. Hermano.
Amen. Blessings, dude.
Blessings, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, hermano.
Later.
Later.